Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for being here for Pilates. Let's go ahead and get up onto our mats for 45 minutes of flow style class. We'll start and end in standing, probably get to a little bit of balancing toward the end of class. So you may want to make sure you have a wall or something stable handy toward the end of class. I will remind everyone at that point that that might be useful. But for now, let's go ahead and stand up on our mats, grabbing any kind of cushion prop that you feel might be useful. So we're going to stand back on our mat toward the edge farthest from our screen, and let's bring our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. Once we're there, we can spread our toes away from each other, turn the heels toward each other, and turn the toes to point toward the front bottom corners of your room. From there, we press our big toe, our pinky toe, and our heel firmly into the mat, and we're going to feel like our feet are forming little triangles, so we have a tripod base of support on both sides. Gives us a pretty good amount of stability, even when we're moving in the forward and back direction. From here, we'll bend our knees a little bit, soften them up, shake them out a little bit, and picture your tailbone dropping all the way down to the floor. And at the same time, imagine a string coming from that tailbone up through the center of the body, through the crown of the head, all the way up to the ceiling. If you feel safe doing so, close your eyes and pay attention to what your body's doing here with those eyes closed. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, it's completely fine to keep them open. Find something to stare at about 10 feet ahead of you. And just pay attention, do we feel anything extra working through the lower half of our bodies? Our shins, our calves, our quads in the front, our hamstrings or glute muscles in the back. Do we feel any activity through our midsection? There's no right or wrong answer to this. I just want you to notice what you feel. And then let's open our eyes if they've been closed. Take a big breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to draw the front and the back of the body toward each other. So the belly and the spine draw toward each other. And we feel like we've tightened a seatbelt of muscles that go all around that waistline from the lowest ribs down toward the pubic bone in front and toward the back of the pelvis in the back where those two bones come together right underneath our belt line. We're going to hold a little bit of activity through those muscles, and then let's turn our head. We're going to look to one side and to the other, trying to keep ourselves balanced nice and steadily over those two triangles at our feet. Turn and look to one side and then to the other. We'll face the screen, and then let's tip our ear to our shoulder on one side and our ear to our shoulder on the other side. We'll do that a couple of times. One side and to the other. And then let's bring that head up nice and tall. Shrug your shoulders, take them up to your ears, and then drop them down toward the waistline. Again, big breath in now as we shrug those shoulders up, and then breathe out. Drop them down toward the waistline. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together and then release them. And then we're going to repeat that again. Squeeze them back, feel some tension behind the middle back, and feel a little stretch across the chest. And release those blades. We'll take the shoulders up to the ears, back and toward each other, and then down to the waistline, rolling through some small circles. We may feel a little bit of crunchiness in those shoulder blades. They may make some noise. That's okay. And then from here, let's bring those arms overhead. Big breath in as we turn our palms toward each other and reach those fingertips to the ceiling. You're welcome to lift your hand as well. Exhaling, we look forward, arms come out to the sides and down by the body. One more time, breathe those arms to the sides, up and overhead, the palms face in, and now we let those shoulders relax down the back side of the body. Keeping the abdomen nice and active, sway your upper body from side to side. We're going to reach up. The most emphasis is in here on the upward reach versus a lot of reach to the side. As we sway our upper body from side to side, we keep the lower half nice and still. We press through our feet to bring our trunk up and over to the other side. And we should feel a nice stretch through the side of the body that we're moving away from. Let's come right back up to center. Open the arms out to shoulder level and turn the palms to face the screen. We're going to bring our hands forward nice and slowly, just far enough that if we wiggle our thumbs, we can see them in the sides of our vision. Pause the hands there, and let's step those feet a little bit wider. Again, we'll bend the knees to give a little bit of cushion to the lower half of the body. Keeping that core active, we're going to move from our breastbone and turn that breastbone toward one side wall and then toward the other. We're only moving in the range where that lower body stays still. The belly button faces forward. And we may get a little bit of work through the mid-back, a little bit of stretch through the chest since those arms are out to the side. We come right back to center, squeeze your shoulder blades together and give a little pulse with those hands toward the back wall. We feel our upper back working and we feel a stretch through the chest. 4, 3, 2, 1, maybe a little fatigue through the arms. Let's take our arms down and give them a couple of shrugs. Release them, shake them up. And then we're gonna bring our feet in, lining those heels up with the middle of each cheek, so with the middle of our sit bones. Fingertips come to the front of the waistline. We bring our thumbs to the back of the waistline. As we press our thumbs and fingers toward each other, we'll feel those muscles that we're pressing into. Let's engage belly to spine again. We'll feel those muscles engage and tighten a little bit more underneath our fingertips here. Lift your toes up. The balls of the feet stay pressed into the floor, so it's just the toes lifting. And we're going to feel those arches on the inside of the foot lifting up as well as our toes come up. Spread the toes apart, get a stretch through the arch and the instep, and then look down at your toes if you need to. See if you can put your pinky down first, then your fourth toe, your third toe, your second toe, and the big toe. We're going to repeat that a few times, lifting and spreading, and then tapping the toes down with the big toe coming down last. Repeat, lift and spread, tap them down. Sometimes it takes a few attempts at this for it to work. Those small toes share a common tendon, so the tendency is to want to keep them moving in the same amount, same speed, but we can control them a little more closely if we pay attention to them. Press your big toes into the floor, and we're going to bring our bodies forward toward the toes and then backward toward the heels. Shift forward and back a few times. Feel the legs kick in, and then we're going to change the range a little bit. We come forward only as far as we can go with the heels staying on the floor. And then we come back only far as we can go with the toes staying on the floor. So we're going to feel the thighs a little bit more on the way back. We'll feel the calves a little more as we bring ourselves to the ball of the foot and toward those toes. Take it forward again. And then we're going to come back over the center of our ankle joints here and press the weight from foot to foot. So we have a straight line from our ankles to our shoulders. As we push the floor away with our feet, we'll feel our sides of our thighs kick in, and we press our fingers into our trunk, and we're going to feel the muscles kick in our fingertips. Those oblique muscles, the side muscles, are helping work to keep us steady. Excuse me. Let's make some circles around that base of support. Again, straight line from ankle to shoulder as we make that circle around our ankle joints. We're going to feel some stirring in those muscles again underneath our fingertips. We'll feel our glutes working a little bit here. Those lower legs working a little, and those toes working a little bit. Pause wherever you are in that position, take a breath, and then we breathe out, circling the opposite direction. We're tracing a big circle on the ceiling with the crown of our head. Let's come forward over our toes, spread those toes away from each other, and as we come forward, we lift our heels up just slightly off the floor. Hold that position. As we press our big toes down, we're going to feel the calves start to do some work. Our arches start to do some work. Hold it there for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And with the weight forward, we bring our heels to the mat, and then we push back so we're resting over our ankle joints again. Shake your legs out. Shake your hands and your wrists out. Maybe open and close those fists because we've had that stretch through the web space of the fingers around our waistline. We're going to bring our feet apart a little bit further. Toes are facing forward this time. And then we take the pinky side of our hand right to where those thigh bones fold into the pelvis, and we leave them right there. Tucking the elbows in by the sides, we're going to bend our knees a touch, and let's fold the body forward over the hands. So we're moving from our hip joint, with the rest of the body staying relatively still in most joints. We're just changing the position of our trunk and our pelvis here. As we come down toward a parallel position with the floor, we'll feel the backs of the thighs lengthening out, and we can squeeze our glutes and feel those hips engaged to work to keep us nice and steady. Let's reach our fingertips toward the mat. Shake your arms out. Make sure everything feels nice and loose through those arms. And then we steady the arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and tuck the elbows in by the sides. Bend those elbows. Reach down toward the mat. Squeeze and bend. Straighten and reach. Squeeze and bend. Straighten and reach. Squeeze those elbows in by the sides. And now we straighten the elbows, bringing the arms toward that wall behind us. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Keep the arms straight. We sweep them down toward our ankle bones. And then let's stand up tall and bring those arms up to a nice high V position, reaching halfway toward the walls on either sides with the arms overhead. All right, we're going to take our arms out to the sides, down by the body, and let's get ready to make our way to the floor. So if you do have any extra cushioning that you want for your knees, lay it down right in the center of your mat and turn to face it. We'll back up a little bit. Those feet are now hip width apart. With the fingertips resting down the sides, we take a big breath in. As we breathe out, we soften those knees. And again, moving from the hip joints, we take our tailbone back. Bend the knees enough that we can get our hands down to the floor. Let's take a moment to walk ourselves down to all fours. Shift those feet as you need to, and then lay those knees right down on any extra cushioning you might have. From here, we're going to decide if we're going to stay with the balls of the feet on the floor. If you get a little stretch through the big toe, through the arches, through the sole of the foot, but it feels reasonable and like a stretch and not sharp pain, go ahead and keep those toes right where they are. If you need to take pressure off the feet, you're welcome to turn the tops of your feet down toward the mat. So it's going to depend on ankle flexibility and how that feels. From here, we're going to draw belly and spine toward each other. So we're going to feel that stomach reach up from toward the floor. We're going to draw it back toward our spine. And then let's rock the bottom back to the heels. Keep the back as straight as you can, as still as you can. Bring your bottom down toward the heels. A little further stretch through the sole of the foot and those Achilles areas or those calves. Then we pull ourselves back up to all fours. I want you to imagine you have a glass of water in the small of your back. We can rock back and forth through a certain range without tipping that water off of us. One more time, we press back, and then we pull up tall. So our wrists and shoulders, knees, and hips are all lined up with each other. If your wrists have a hard time in this position, make a fist and come up to rest on the fist as well. That's perfectly fine modification to make. Let's draw the belly to the ceiling, curl the tailbone under, and look to the thighs for cat. Release the tailbone, take it up to the ceiling, and the breastbone forward to the wall in front for cow. Again, curl to cat. Release, reverse into cow. One more time, curl to cat. Reverse to cow, and come on back to center. We keep our shoulders nice and still as we wag our tail. Take it toward one side wall and toward the other, toward the screen and toward the far wall. Come on back to center. Everybody turn the tops of those feet down to the floor, and we're going to cross one ankle over the other, and then slide those feet out till they rest just beyond the border of our mat. Cross the other ankle over. Slide those toes away. Cross and reach the other direction and cross and tap the toes beyond the borders of the mat. We'll come back to the center and now take those big toes, touch them together and bring the knees apart. We'll press our bottom back to the heels, gently pushing the heels of the hands into that mat, and then let's lower our forearms to the floor. From here, we can slide the elbows back toward the inside joints of the knee, and then let's rock side to side, opening up the hips. We're going to feel a little bit of stretch through the inner thighs as we rock away from one side, and then it switches to the other side as we rock away from it. Let's slide our hands toward the head of our mat. Straighten out those elbows as best you can, and then see if you can slide the hands forward or walk them toward the head of the mat, and we lower that forehead down toward the mat. It may touch, it may not with straight elbows. We're going to try to rest our ears in line with our arms. So even if the forehead doesn't come all the way down, we're going to do our best to keep it in line with those arms. Let's reach one hand toward the front of the mat. We're going to walk that arm forward, getting a nice stretch through the back side of that armpit. Slide back till the hands are level with each other, and then reach the far hand forward, inch it toward the head of the mat, lengthening out through the far side armpit. Coming back to center, we bend our elbows and drop down to those forearms. Let's shift our weight over the forearms, and if you do have cushioning under your knees, go ahead and take it out, place it near the head of the mat, and then we're going to come down onto our upper thighs, resting midway between our hip and our kneecaps. Tighten up your thighs, straighten those knees if you can, and we press our hands into the floor and lift that breastbone up just a touch. Our breastbone should be facing the bottom of the wall in front of us. We'll take a big breath here. Exhaling, we draw the belly up toward the ceiling and press a little lower down on the thighs. So we're going to try to rest on our kneecaps here. From here, squeeze your blades together. That upper body and trunk come down toward the floor. And then we press the other direction, lifting the upper body. Squeeze back. Press forward. Squeeze back. Press forward. One more time. Squeeze together. Press those blades forward, and we turn toward our screen. Tuck the far arm underneath the body and roll onto our backs. We'll bring our hands down by our sides, bending the knees to line our heels up with the middle of each hip here. So we have a little space between our ankles, a little space between our knees, and a little space between those two bones in the front of the pelvis. Let's picture a pelvic clock right on our midsection. 12 o'clock is up toward the breastbone, 6 is toward the pubic bone, 3 o'clock is toward the far wall, and 9 o'clock is toward our screen. We're going to see if we can move the lower half of our body only, chest and head, stay nice and still. Curl the pelvis toward 12 o'clock, flatten the back, tuck the tail between the legs, allowing those sit bones to lift. Release the tailbone toward the floor, allowing that back to lift up off the floor just a little bit as we roll to 6 o'clock. Curl the back to 12. Lengthen it back to 6. One more time each. Curl to 12. Lengthen to 6. As we bring our trunk and pelvis right back to neutral, we're going to take the far side of the pelvis, drop it down toward the floor, lift the screen side of the pelvis up so that cheek comes up off the mat, and we're effectively turning the pelvis toward the far wall. There's our 3 o'clock position. Lower that screen side cheek back down toward the mat and lift the far side up as we rotate our pelvis toward our screen. There's 9 o'clock. Roll through neutral and rock toward 3. Roll through neutral and rock to 9. Coming back to the center, we breathe in and we exhale, drawing belly and spine toward each other. So we feel some activity through those abdominals in front. Turn the palms to face the ceiling, and we're going to slide those arms out and up along the floor so the hands are level with our shoulders, and we have as close to a straight line as we can get from the fingertips of one hand to the fingertips of the other. Let's give the chin a little nod and drop your breastbone down toward the floor. So we should feel a stretch through the chest right at the outer edges where the chest and the shoulders meet. Turn the head toward the screen. Feel the far side of the chest open up. Breathing in, we look to the ceiling, and then we exhale to look toward the far wall, opening up the screen side of the chest. Inhaling, we come back to center, and then breathing out, we bring our arms to the ceiling. The arms are perpendicular to the floor here. Keeping that trunk, head, neck, and pelvis nice and still, wrap the shoulder blades up and forward toward the ceiling, and then lower those blades down to the floor. Reach them up, lower them down. Reach them up, lower them down. One more time, reach them to the ceiling, lower them to the floor. We're going to bring the far knee up to 90 degrees, the shins parallel to the ceiling, and let's bring the other knee up to meet it in tabletop. So our shins are level with each other, our thighs are perpendicular to the mat, and we take our hands to the front of the thighs just below the kneecaps. Drop your shoulders away from the ears and press your hands and thighs toward each other. As we do so, we're going to feel some tension build up in the front of the trunk, and we'll feel those abdominals working. Hold it here. Roll your ankles one direction, couple circles, roll in the other. Point those toes to the wall in front, and we breathe in, straightening our legs toward the ceiling. Stop when you feel the first barrier of movement behind the thighs. Breathing in, we come back to tabletop. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend those knees. Hold them here as we reach our arms up to the ceiling. Clasp the hands and take them right behind the back of the head. We're going to let our elbows rest about halfway up the wall to either side of us. Pull the knees a little closer to the trunk, to the chest as we flatten our back out. Let's hold here, flex the feet, breathing in, and exhaling, we press the screen side leg toward the wall. We inhale it back to our tabletop position. Try to keep the breastbone down so that upper body stays nice and still and pressed into the mat. Press the far leg forward, inhale the tabletop. Exhale, press the screen side leg forward. Inhale the tabletop. Exhale, press the far leg forward. Take it back to tabletop. We're going to point the toes, release the head from the hands, and tuck the far knee all the way into the body. Draw it in toward the chest. Take that screen side foot to the mat, leaping it all the way down along the floor. We're going to try to straighten that knee out, attempting to get the back of the knee resting on the floor. Take that bent knee, cross it over the body toward the screen, and lift that far hip up. Give it a wiggle. And then we come right back to center. Keep that knee where it is. Reset belly to spine and hover that leg up off the floor. So the straight leg is lifted off the floor about 4 to 6 inches. Hold it here. And then take that lifted leg from side to side toward the screen and then toward the far wall. We're doing our best to move just from that hip joint line to keep the pelvis still, the back still, the shoulders nice and still. Stretch the toes toward the wall in front, and we'll circle that wall for 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in, and exhaling, we take it the other way. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, we pull that knee into the body. Exhaling, we slide the opposite leg out along the mat. Again, pressing the back of that knee into the floor and stretching the toes to the wall in front. Take a breath in, and breathing out, we reset belly to spine and hover that straight leg off the floor 4 to 6 inches. Moving from the hip joint, we take our legs side to side for 4, 3, shoulders stay away from the ears, breastbone stays relaxed as you can. Circle the wall in front with that straight leg. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Breathing out, we take it the other way. Here's 4, and 3. Last 2, and 1. Lower that leg all the way down to the mat. We'll pull the bent knee across the body and give it a little wiggle over to the opposite side. Coming back to center, we hold on behind that lifted thigh. Clasp your fingers together and kick the thigh gently into the hands. We're going to do our best to keep our shoulder blades resting on the floor, and we stretch our toes up toward the ceiling. Find some length behind your hamstring, and then bend the knee. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten the legs, toes to the ceiling. Flex and point that ankle. Bending the knee if you need it to get a little more slack so we can move that ankle. Point the toes to the ceiling and kick the thigh into the hands as we hover our other leg off the mat. Let's breathe in. Lift the hovered leg up to meet our stretching side. We breathe it out forward and down the wall to our hovered position. Lift up, take it down. And our goal here really is to keep everything above the hip joint, nice and still and steady. All right, stretch that leg to hover, lower it to the mat. Keep the lifted stretching side where it is as we take our hands down to the floor. Bring that lifted leg from side to side. Keep those bones in the front of the pelvis nice and still and facing the ceiling. Keep the bones in the back of the pelvis nice and still and pressed into the mat. One more time, we take that lifted leg side to side. Again, bending if we need some slack to move through the hip. Circle the ceiling, stirring that hip in its socket. Here's 3. Here's 2. Last one, breathe in at the top and then take the exhale and we circle the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bending the knee into the chest, we pull in with our hands to give a little more stretch, maybe feeling a little bit of release of the low back. And let's pull the other side in and switch it up. Lengthen that side out along the floor. Back of the knee presses into the mat and we hang on behind our lifted thigh. Kick the thigh into the hands and stretch those legs up toward the ceiling. Toes up, bend back to tabletop. Stretch to the ceiling and bend. We straighten only as much as we can, keeping the rest of the body nice and still. Stretch up to the ceiling, flexing and pointing the toes, bending the knee as needed to get some slack for that ankle movement. One more time, press those toes to the ceiling. Kicking into the thigh, we hover our supported leg off the mat, and then we breathe it up to meet our stretching leg. We exhale it forward and down the wall to hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale to hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale to hover, and one final time, inhale, lift. Exhale to hover. Take that leg down, pressing the back of the knee into the floor, and we keep our stretching side up as we bring our hands to the mat. Let's take that lifted leg side to side. Here's 4. And 3. Last 2. And one more over toward that screen, and we circle the ceiling here for 4. 3. 2. Breathe in at the top. Exhaling, we take it the other way. 3. Again, bend the knee for a little more motion. And last time, sweep it through, bringing the toes to the ceiling. Bend the knee, hug it into the body, and we'll bring the other knee in to meet that stretching side. Get your knees together if you can. Clasp the fingers. And as we draw both knees in toward the body, we'll feel that lower body open up. That low back is going to open up into the floor. We can rock side to side, giving a little massage to those muscles along the sides of the spine. And then we come back to center. Give the shoulders a roll up, back, and down, and grab onto those kneecaps. We're going to guide the thighs up again to our tabletop position. Gently press the hands and thighs toward each other, and then stretch the toes to the ceiling with a big breath in. Keeping that core active, remove the hands from those knees and turn the palms toward each other as we reach our fingers up to the ceiling. We're going to glue our ankles and knees together and move those legs toward our screen and away. We're moving from the waist down. You are welcome to lift the bones on the back of the pelvis up off the floor on the side we're moving our feet away from. If you want to challenge your ability to stabilize against those rotational motions. If you want to move in a range where the back stays still, that's okay as well. We're going to move to corkscrew. Let's trace a circle on the ceiling, both legs moving together. We'll feel the feet sliding on each other a little bit here. Most of the motion is coming from the hips, but we do get a little bit of motion coming from the pelvis, so it's okay if the bones are lifting up off the back. Breathe in, pausing at the top, and then taking that exhale, we'll circle the legs the other way. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, take the toes to the side walls. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, toes apart, legs to V. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, apart. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, apart and hold the toes apart. We feel that length through the inner thighs. Then we bend our knees, touch those big toes together for frog. Big breath here, holding the position. The belly and spine draw down toward the mat for the exhale. And then let's press our toes toward the wall in front of us. That could be a small forward press, reaching up to the top of that wall to challenge the abs a bit. And then if we want to take it further, let's come back to frog. As we exhale, we reach our toes a little further down the wall. You decide the angle of the hips, feet together, press to frog, and press. Inhale the knees to the ceiling, and we hug everything into the body, rocking from side to side. Big breath in. Exhale to center, shake your feet out, point and flex those toes, and then the toes come together, the knees come apart. We're going to take our hands to the front of the shins and hang them onto them right in the middle of the shin. We're going to drop those shoulders down to the floor. Our knees can come out to the side a little further. If you have motion that you can push into without just feeling like you're pushing into anything sharp, go ahead and press your elbows into those inner thighs. That's going to give us a little more outward leverage to bring those knees out. And then from there, we give that body another side-to-side rock or two. Inhale to center, and then breathing out, we take our knees back to the chest, and then bring the feet down to the floor. Let's bring our arms down to the mat and inch our heels a little closer to the bottom. We're going to get ready to bridge. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhaling, we draw belly and spine toward each other. We press our hands into the mat and squeeze those glutes. Lift the hips up till we first start to feel a little bit of work through the glutes. If you can, take it up a little higher so if you can find your quads, the length through the front of the thighs. Pressing into the mat, let's see if we can squeeze that rear end and lift up a touch higher. Take it as high as you can without feeling your back taking over. We want to feel our rear end engaging. We want to feel our thighs stretching, and we want to feel our heels pressing firmly into the mat. Take a breath in at the top, and then exhaling, we bridge back down, reaching the tailbone toward the heels as we do so. Tap that bottom down, and then we squeeze, press, and lift up again. Lower and tap. Squeeze and lift. Inhale, lower and tap. Exhale, squeeze and lift. One more time. Inhale, lower and tap those rear ends. Exhale, squeeze, lifting the hips toward the ceiling. We're going to hold our hips wherever they are and go up and down on our toes. There's 8, 7. Press those arms down. It's really going to help. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heels come down. We take that breath. Exhaling, we bring our hips down, reaching that tailbone toward the feet. Release the glutes at the bottom, and then let's rock our knees toward the screen and away, allowing the hips to come up on the side we're moving our knees away from if that feels appropriate. Breathe back to the center, and exhaling, we squeeze those glutes, press through the mat, and lift back up to bridge. Keeping our toes on the mat and our heels on the mat. Let's take one knee at a time out toward our side walls. Alternate them. They're going side to side. We're moving from our hip joint where the thighs fold into the pelvis. The feet stay on the floor, so we ensure that we use our rear ends to do the work and not just the sides of our lower legs. One more time to each side. Out to the screen, back to center, out to the far wall, and back to center. We take a big breath in, and we breathe down to the mat. Release those glutes at the bottom, and we rock our knees toward the screen and away. One more time, we rock toward the screen, and we rock away. Come on back to center, big breath in. Belly to spine on the exhale, squeeze and lift those hips up. Holding here, we're going to move into a march. We take one knee at a time, in toward the same side of the chest, and then we take the other side up. March in, press the foot to the mat, and march. Bring it down. Repeat for 4. Switch for 3. Here's 2. And last one. Press that foot into the mat. Squeeze, lift the hips up. We take a big breath in. Breathing out, we lengthen the body down to the floor. Release those glutes at the bottom and rock those knees side to side. There's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Come on back to the center. Now we turn our body toward the screen, and we're going to turn over to our forearms. So we're resting on the forearms and on those upper thighs. We bring our elbows slightly in closer to the body. They're going to be right underneath our shoulders. and press the hands firmly into the floor. Let's take a big breath in. On the exhale, we bring belly to spine. We lift the crown of the head just a touch, so it's pointing up to the middle of the wall in front of us. Lift the belly toward the ceiling, so we're resting up toward those knee joints. And then one at a time, we're going to bend a knee, bringing the heel to the bottom. Straighten that leg out and switch it up. Our heel is going to end up being fairly far from the bottom. We're going to bump into our calf muscle before we can get that heel in close. What we're aiming for is to get a little stretch through the thigh and to be able to move through a range where that back stays nice and still. If you want to make this harder, do 2 quick kicks and then straighten. Kick, kick, and straighten. One more on each side. Kick, kick, and straighten. Big breath in, press into the hands, send that breastbone up. Exhale, and we come down enough that we can get our hands to the mat. And then we pop ourselves up to hands and knees. Grab that cushion again and place it in the center of the mat for your knees if you'd like to have it there. Once we're up on all fours, we curl through cat and cow. Repeat that again, curl to cat and through to cow. Come on back to center, upper body stays still as we wag our tail side to side, and come on back to center. Inhale here, exhale, belly to spine, and let's take one hand, tap it to the opposite shoulder, bring it to the mat, press it down, and switch to the other side. Hand down, tap across. Hand down, tap across. If you want to make this harder, our fingers come out to the outer borders of that mat. So we have a wider stance with the hands, and we tap and switch. Tap across. Take it down, tap, and down, and tap, and down. Hands come back in underneath the shoulders. Slide that screen side leg back. Squeeze the glute and lift the leg up to trunk level. We'll take our opposite arm, reach it forward. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch it up. Back to all fours. Lengthen the opposite leg back. Squeeze the glute and lift that leg to trunk level. Opposite arm comes forward. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. Lengthen and reach. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. One last time. Lengthen and reach. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hand comes down. Knee comes in. Curl through cat. Take it to cow. Coming back to center, we reset belly to spine. Open that screen side arm out to the screen. Take the hand down. Open the far arm out to the far wall. Take it down. Repeat again. Reach to the screen. If you have a little more room to move, take your breastbone toward the screen. Rotate through that trunk just a little. That hand comes down. We repeat on the other side. Open to the side. Breastbone toward the wall if you have a little more range. Take the hand down. Open toward the screen. Last time, hand down. Open to the far wall. We'll bring that arm down, slide the screen side leg back, and arc it all the way out toward the screen. Pause when your toes are lined up with your bent knee, and then we'll press our foot into the mat. As we lengthen down, we're going to feel that inner thigh on the straight leg opening up and lengthening out. We can hold it here, or we can add a little rock back. Take the bottom back to the heel, and then come up tall. One more time, bottom to the heel, come up tall. Straighten that leg back. Inhale it to all fours again, and exhale the opposite leg behind the body. Arc that leg to the far wall, pressing the toes into the mat when they're level with the bent knee. As we press down, we'll feel our inner thigh open up, and we hold here, or we add our rock back, bottom to heel, pulling up tall. And one more time, bottom to heel, pulling up tall. Slide the leg back, put the ball of the foot on the mat, and press firmly into the heels of the hands. You're welcome to shake your wrists out for a moment if you need to give those wrists a break. We press down into the mat with our hands. We press firmly through the ball of the foot, and we come up to plank. Shift side to side. Take it back to center. Come to the knees if you need a little more support. Whether we're on the knees or on the toes, we take one leg out to the side of the mat and bring it right back to center. When your knees are down, the knees and the toes come to the sides and back to the center, to the sides and back to the center. Repeat 4, switch 3, last 2, and 1. Back to plank. Knees come down to that mat. We curl up to cat and then walk the hands back to the knees and raise ourselves up to a tall kneeling position. Adjust your knee position on your mat as you see fit. We'll hold here, shrug and release those shoulders. Big breath in, and exhale, belly to spine. Hold that core connection and lean the body back just till we feel the front of our thighs working. Excellent. Inhale up tall, and breathing out, we lean that body back. Inhale up tall. Exhale, lean. Inhale up tall. One more time, breathe out. We lean that body back and hold it for 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and come back up to our kneeling position. As we come down, we'll take the cushion out from under our knees, turn and face the other way on the mat, and that cushion goes off to one side. All right, we come to the center of our mat. Let's take our elbows in by the upper thighs. We're going to press our hands into the thighs just above those knee joint lines. And keep the hands and knees nice and still press them toward each other. We're going to build a little tension through the hips. We'll feel a little tension through those arms. Straighten out the elbows, leaning the body back. Pause when you start to feel your abdomen doing some work. Hold it here. Walk the heels back a little more for a little more challenge. And then we open and close one arm at a time. Take it back to the leg and open the other side. Breathing in, we come back to the thigh, and exhaling, we open. Inhale back to the thigh. Exhale, open. Take it back to center. Hang on to the shins as we pull our body up nice and tall and roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Let's turn and look side to side. And then right back to face the wall in front. Take the hands back behind you. Fingertips point toward the outer walls. The heels of the hands are pressed firmly into the floor, and we squeeze our shoulder blades together and straighten out those elbows. Let's send that breastbone up to the top of that wall in front of us and walk the hips forward toward our heels. Find that bicep stretch, find that stretch to the chest. What we're trying to do is get open as much as we can until we feel like if we took it any further forward, we'd curl. We want to avoid that curl if we can. Hold the position, but if you do have a little more left to give, we pull our heels in toward the bottom, press through the feet, and lift that bottom up. We might just take it a few inches up. We might take it all the way up to reverse tabletop. I'll leave that up to you. We hold it here for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then let's lower that bottom down. Turning to face the screen, we sit up for a moment, shake those wrists out, and then let's make our way down onto our side. We'll rest on our bottom arm. Knees are forward and heels line up with the butt. Lift up that waistline. You can take your hand underneath it if you'd like to. And we take our hand right to the top of the pelvis on that top leg, or that top side. Press your knee up and down with the toes together. There's 4. Lift 3, 2, and 1. Lift the feet alone. Keep that pelvis nice and still. Your hands will be able to let you know if the pelvis is still. The motion will be coming from the hips. Keeping the feet lifted. Again, we take our top knee up. Press for 3. Here's 2. And 1. Bring the knees down and the feet down and lift that top leg up for hydrants. 3, 2, and 1. Take it back to hip level. Circle that top leg. Keep the knee bent. 2. They're pretty small circles. 1. Line the thighs up with each other and circle the other way. 4, 3. We should feel some work through the side of that hip, maybe even to the glute. Back to center. Top hand to the mat. Straighten out the bottom leg, and we lift to hydrants again. There's 4. Roll forward so you have a little pressure through the heel of the hand. And 1. Back to hip level. Stretch the toes forward. Swing the leg back. Swing forward and back. 2 more. Swing forward. Swing back, and last time, swing forward, take it back, toes come down and up for 4, 3, 2, lift and hold, slide the bottom leg back, and we lift that bottom leg up. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that top leg down, bend your knees up, and we give our hip a little pat. Let's reach the screen. Inhale the arm to the ceiling and look to the fingertips. Breathing out, we turn that breastbone toward the ceiling and open the arm toward the far wall. Open book. We're attempting to get our hand down toward the floor. If it only reaches out to the side and it's hovering up a little bit off the mat, that's okay. Inhale up to the ceiling and breathe out, reaching that arm forward. Okay, we're going to press ourselves up and over to the other side. Take a moment. There's no rush. All right, resting on that bottom arm again, our knees come forward, we line our heels up with our bottom, and that top hand comes to the waist, and we lift that waistline up, keeping a little activity through the midsection. Top hand comes to the top of the pelvis, and we take our knee up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the knees down and lift those feet. 4, 3, 2. Lift and hold them up there, and again, we bring our top knee up. Here's 3, lift 2, and 1. Take the knees down and the feet down. We move to hydrants. lift 3. Again, it's the hip moving. That waistline should stay nice and still. Back to hip level, circle that top leg, moving out of that hip joint, keeping the knee bent. 3, 2, 1, back to hip level, and we circle the other direction. There's 4, 3, 2, last one, back to hydrant. We take our top hand to the mat, press it into the floor, and straighten the bottom leg out. Rolling the weight forwards, we have some pressure through the heel of the hand. We do hydrants again. 3, 2, 1, back to hip level, stretch the toes forward, swing the leg back, swing forward, and back. 2 more, forward, swing back, and last one through, forward, take it back, toes come down, we lift them, lower and lift. Last 2, lift, lower, lift just above hip level, we slide our bottom leg back, lift it up to meet the top leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top leg comes down, bend the knees up and give your hip a little pat before reaching toward the screen. Breathing in, we take our hand to the ceiling, we look to those fingertips, and then we exhale through to open book, reach toward the far wall, and then lower toward that mat. Inhale the arm up and breathe it forward. Let's go ahead and turn onto our backs. Knees are bent, heels are lined up with our sit bones, and we flip our palms to face upward. Let's rock those knees toward and away from the screen. And if you want to get a little more upper body stretch, we open those arms out toward a T. Fingertips lined up with on one hand with the fingertips on the other. Breathe back to center. The arms come down and we cross our far ankle over the screen side knee. If you have a little more slack, we could lift that other leg up off the floor. It's okay if it stays down. And then rock that body side to side. We're keeping the upper body still, lower half moves. Come on back to center, unwind, and we switch it up, other ankle to the knee. Lifting if we have a little slack, and then rocking side to side, whether we have that second foot lifted or on the floor. Coming back to center, we unwind, hug those knees into the body, and give a little side to side rock. Come on back to center, circle the ankles one way, and circle them the other. And we place our feet on the floor. Let's turn toward our screen and make our way over to hands and knees. Once we're here, if you need your cushion, go ahead and grab it. We curl through cat and cow. And we repeat that one more time. Curl up to cat and through to cow. Coming back to center, give your tail a wag. And coming back to center, we turn the balls of the feet under. Cross your bottom back to the heels. We walk the hands back toward those knees. Let's transfer our weight over to our feet. We walk our hands back to the feet. We don't rise until we're up and over our ankles. That gives us a nice steady base, efficient base to rise up through. So the easiest way to get those muscles going, steadiest position for us. Once we're up top, we take a moment to get our bearings. And then let's meet toward the center of our mat. If you want to find something steady to hold on to for these final 2 exercises, you're welcome to. A wall, a tabletop, or countertop is fine. We're going to come up to whatever we need to hold on to, or we take our hands to our waistline, stand up nice and tall, and let's shift one foot in front of the other. Again, totally fine to hold. Turn your head for a balance challenge. Feel those feet wiggle a little bit more, especially if you're not holding on. We face forward and then we shift our weight back. Rising up to single leg balance, let's take our toes of one foot right up to the knee of the other. Again, if you want to challenge the balance a little more, turn your head. And face forward. We hold it here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's switch. Shift to the other side, shake that leg out a little bit. Find your secure support system if you need it, and then we stand heel to toe. Add your head turn if you'd like. We face forward and shift our weight back before rising up into single leg balance with the toes of one foot right at the knee of the other. Turn your head to make it harder if you'd like. And we face forward where we hold it for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take those feet down. Shoulder width apart, shake the legs out, shake those wrists out, and pause with the weight back toward the heels. Inhale, shrug the shoulders. Exhale, drop them down. One more time, inhale, shrug. Exhale, drop them down. We'll turn and look over one shoulder. and over the other before facing forward. Inhaling, those arms come up and overhead, and we breathe them out to the sides and down. Let's take our feet together and we'll close with one more big breath in, arms out. Take them up and overhead, and we look to those fingertips as we turn our palms toward each other. Press those hands together and let's exhale to center. Excellent work. As always, excellent work for those of you who are new. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks.